Students, welcome back. So today we are going to start another kingdom, that is kingdom Protista, in the continuation of chapter 2, biological classification. Okay, so let's start the topic. In kingdom Protista, we must know the characteristics of this kingdom. As we have already done the kingdom Monera, so what we were considering there? We were considering about the cell organization or the body organization, mode of nutrition. So here, what are the characteristics on these bases? So whenever we are talking about the kingdom Protista, it means that the organization is somehow different from the Monera. That is, here the organization will be eukaryotic. Fine. So we can say the cellular organization is eukaryotic. And now when we are talking about the body organization, it is a unicellular. Fine. So as compared to the Monera, in Monerans, what happened? In Monerans, they were the prokaryotic. Means that no nucleus, no nuclear membrane, no membrane bound cell organs. But in case of Protista, everything is present here. It means that the proper nucleus is there, nuclear membrane is there, and cell organelles are present in kingdom Protista. So we have done two characteristics, cell organization and body organization. Along that, the third characteristic is mode of nutrition. How it is taking nutrition from the other one. So in case of Monera, we have done the mode of nutrition can be autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. So here also it can be autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Fine. So in this kingdom Monera, they are having different groups. What are these different groups? Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans. Now on the basis of their mode of nutrition, we can say that the first three groups, that is chrysophytes, dinoflagellate and euglenoids, what are they? They can be photosynthetic. Fine. So most of the members of this group are photosynthetic in nature. And the slime molds are what type of mode of nutrition? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Another one, fifth one, protozoans, again heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So we can classify the heterotrophic mode of nutrition into two parts. What are they? It can be saprotrophic or it can be parasitic. So here the slime molds are having heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And what type of heterotrophic mode of nutrition? It is the saprotrophic. It means that it takes their nutrition from the dead and decaying. And the third one, protozoans, they are as a parasites. They will act as a parasite or they will take their nutrition from the other living organism. So one by one we will understand that what are these things and what are the different members of these groups. Fine. Another thing we can say that the kingdom Protista is the linking, or it's a link between the other three kingdoms. So out of the five kingdom, so Monera we have completed. So this Protista kingdom is a link between all three members or three kingdoms like fungi, plantae and Animalia. Why? Because they are showing some characteristics resembling to the three kingdoms. Okay. Now, if I will say that if they are linked between all these things, so we can say some protists are plant-like, some protists are like fungi-like, and some protists are like animals. So in this basis also we can say the chrysophytes, dinoflagellate and euglenoids, what are they? They are the plant-like protists. Why? Because they can act as the autotrophic mode of nutrition. And the fourth one is the fungi-like protist, because it will act as a fungi, because fungi also take its nutrition from the dead and decaying organism. And the last one, fifth one, it will act as a animal-like protist, because in this case you will come to that there will be heterotrophic mode of nutrition, holozoic type of mode of nutrition, parasitic type of mode of nutrition. Fine. So let's start with the first group, that is chrysophytes. When we are saying that chrysophytes, it comes under the chrysophyta. This is the first point. The examples of chrysophytes are diatoms and golden algae and desmids. So here this diatoms is very important. from the examination point of view. Why? Because we have to understand what are the diatoms. All these are found in the sea. So what will be the habitat? On the basis of habitat, we can say it can be fresh water or it can be marine water. They may found in all these two types of habitats. Now, whenever they are living in the ocean, seas, what they are doing, they are floating. Or how they are floating? They are floating passively with the water currents. Fine. As they are floating, so what we can say, they are acting like a plankton. Have you heard about the phytoplankton, zooplankton? So here, so these will act as a plankton, and these planktons will act as a producers for the ocean kingdom, or for the ocean environment. Okay. Here, so this can act as a producer also. Now, another is mode of nutrition. As we have said that it comes under the kingdom Protista. So mostly they can be the photosynthetic. Fine. So here the mode of nutrition is photosynthetic in the chrysophytes. Now another point is cell wall of diatoms. Okay, if you see the pictures of diatoms, you can see that diatoms are very good in structure, or the cell wall is made up of very abrasive nature of composition. It is made up of silica. As we have done in case of monerans, cell wall is present in some cases. In some cases it was absent, but in case of chrysophytes, the cell wall is present, and this cell wall is in form of silica. It is made up of silica, and this silica is very hard structure, or we can say indestructible form. We cannot destroy it. So here, so what is the use of these diatoms? As they are present in the sea, made up of silica, when they will get die, when these diatoms get die, what will happen? Everything will get decay, but the cell wall, which is made up of silica, it will remain there, and it will form a accumulation. What it will do? It will form a accumulation of silica. Like this, in the billion of years, it will form a diatomaceous earth. It means that earth, or the accumulation which is made up of the diatoms, or we can say the cell wall of diatoms, this is known as diatomaceous earth. Fine. And what is the use of this diatoms or diatomaceous earth? Because as it is made up of the silica, we can use in the polishing industry. In the polishing industry, they can use this cell wall or the diatoms as a abrasive form. And another use of this diatoms, we can say the membrane or the cell wall is made up of very fine pores. If you will get filter anything through this diatoms, the sample can be purified very finely. So we can say for the purification of some oils and syrups, these diatoms are useful. Along with another examples or another useful about the diatoms, then it can be used for the soundproof home, or we can say soundproof room. They can be used. Fine. So here what we have concluded in the chrysophytes, the diatoms comes under this one. Okay, here I have mentioned dasmids. Dasmids are also there. It is made up of some compartments. In between these two compartments, nucleus is present. Fine. So all these are present where? In the sea, and it will act as a producers. Okay. Now, have you noticed that we are doing some algae in case of monerans also, some here in case of Protista, and we know that algae comes under the plant kingdom. So wherever we are studying this algae, we are studying this algae in case of monerans also, in case of Protista, as well as in case of kingdom Plantae. So what is the difference between all these things? The bacteria, the algae which is present in the kingdom Monera are what are they? Blue-green algae. Okay, so it was the blue-green algae, and the algae which is we are studying in this chrysophyte, it is golden algae. Fine. And which we are going to study in the kingdom Plantae, it will be the red algae, or it will be the green algae, or the brown algae. So we will study all about it, and that algae is the true form. But here whenever we are talking about the algae, so what should be the characteristic? It should be the characteristics that it will be a photosynthetic, or it will be the autotrophs. It means that they are having some chlorophyll pigment. If they are having chlorophyll pigment, so it can prepare its own food. Fine. So this is all about the chrysophytes. Now come to the second group, that is dinoflagellates. Fine. So what is dino? Di related to two. Flagellate relates to flagella. So here they are having two types of flagella, or two flagella are present in dinoflagellate, and it comes under Pyrophyta, and the earlier one it comes under Chrysophyta. Fine. So here examples I have mentioned. The Gonelex, it's very important example. You must study or memorize this example. Another one is Ceridium. Okay, so here we will talk about the Gonelex. What are the characteristics of Gonelex? If you will see in the picture of Gonelex, you will see that they are having some shell-like structure, and in that structure they are having two types of flagella. One is longitudinal flagella, it means in the lengthwise, and one is the transverse flagella like this, and body is composed of this type of structure. Okay, and these plates are connected to each other. So here what is Gonelex? They are having two type of flagella. So how they are working? Second point, the mostly marine. If you will compare the habitat with the chrysophytes, they found in both fresh water as well as marine water. Here the dinoflagellates found mostly in the marine water. Fine. And again I have mentioned unicellular. We know that all the protista are the unicellular. So whether it is the chrysophytes or the dinoflagellates or euglenoids or the later one, all will be the unicellular. Fine. So don't confuse, here also we will add the unicellular. Now another point is biflagellate. It means we have covered that two flagella are there. One is longitudinal and one is transverse. So what is the use of longitudinal? Both are having characteristics related to movement. So this this transverse flagella, which is covering the whole Gonelex in this manner, in the transverse form, what it is doing, it is circulating. Okay, it will act as a whipping like structure. So due to this transverse flagella, what will happen? The Gonelex can spin, and due to the spinning there will be some movement in the Gonelex. And what is the function of this longer flagella? The flagella which is longitudinal, that it will act or it will function as a movement of Gonelex. Fine. So here another point, that is photosynthetic. We know that mostly they are photosynthetic because we are talking about the plants like protists. So earlier in chrysophytes they were also photosynthetic. Now the dinoflagellates, they are also photosynthetic. Why? Because they can prepare its own food, or they are having the capacity to prepare the food. So whenever we are talking about the photosynthetic, it means that they must have some pigments. So what can be the pigments? The green color is due to chlorophyll. Okay, I have written short form, chlorophyll pigment, and this yellow color is due to beta carotene, and the golden brown color is due to xanthophyll. So these pigments are responsible for the photosynthetic mode of nutrition here. Fine. Another thing, in case of chrysophytes, we have done the cell wall is made up of what? Made up of the silica. But in case of dinoflagellates, the cell wall is made up of cellulosic cell wall. Fine. So this cellulosic cell wall is present in the dinoflagellates. Another one is exhibit bioluminescence. What is the meaning of? Some shining or some luminous character is present in this dinoflagellate. So here I have mentioned one example. This example is very important. Noctiluca scintillans. It means that, what is the meaning of scintillation? Something very shining or moving. So if you will see the pictures of these things, you can see that something is shining in the ocean, and this shining is due to what? Due to the bioluminescence. And this is very harmful. Sometimes these type of things are very harmful for the aquatic organism. Fine, like fishes, all these things. Here, one more thing, as we are talking about the Gonelex, if you will see the members or the colonies of this Gonelex, what they are forming? They are forming red color. All over, all the sea will become red in color. That's why we are saying it's a red tides, or sometimes we are saying that red algae. Why? Because it is creating some red color in the whole sea due to the presence of this Gonelex. Fine. Now we have completed the second member of the kingdom Protista. Now come to the third one, euglenoids. Okay, as we have done that euglena is what? It will act as a mixotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, so one by one we will start. Example is euglena. Euglena is present where? In the euglenoids. Fine, and we can say Euglenophyta. Now here the habitat of the euglenoids are mostly they are in fresh water. They are found in fresh water, and another one is unicellular. Same thing, all the members are unicellular because they comes under the kingdom Protista. And the another point is that again it is having two flagella. Okay, in case of euglena they are having two flagella. Here I have shown one diagram. You can see here that in this euglena, if you can see one small or short flagella is present and another one is a longer flagella. Okay, so what is the function of this smaller and second one is longer flagella? First we will come to know this point. Mixotrophic, it means a mixed type of mode of nutrition. It means that euglena can act as a autotrophic as well as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, how? In presence of light, this euglena will act as a autotrophic, but in absence of light they will act as a heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So that's why these flagella will act upon it. The short flagella, okay, the short flagella will function as a light receptors. As we are saying that in presence of light, what this flagella will do? It will they are having some receptor which will receive the light, and with the help of this light they will prepare its food. Fine. So, and what is the function of this longer flagella? This longer flagella is helpful for the movement of euglena from one place to another place. Okay, so memorize all these function of short flagella and long flagella, as well as if you will see the structure of euglena at the base of this flagella. At the base of the flagella, you will see that there is a red color spot which is known as red spot or the eye spot of the euglena. Again, it will act as a light receptor which will helpful for the movement of flagella. For what? For the presence of light. In the presence of this eye spot, euglena will direct that where light is situated, and it will move with the help of flagella to that particular place for the autotrophic mode of nutrition. And another important thing about the euglena, they are having radially fashion chloroplast. So we know that whenever it is acting as a autotrophic mode of nutrition, some chloroplast must be there. If chlorophyll is not there, it means that there will be no photosynthesis. So here what type of pigments are present? Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B and xanthophyll are present. These types of pigments are present in the chloroplast of the euglena. Fine. Another very important feature of euglena is that they don't have rigid cell wall. As we have done in chrysophytes, they are having cell wall made up of silica. Here it is made up of cellulosic cell wall, but in case of euglena, they don't have any hard cell wall. Okay, if they are not having hard or rigid cell wall, instead of this, what is present? Pellicle is present. Okay, this pellicle is present which helps in the movement or somehow from one place to another place, or the smooth surface to the euglena. Okay, and this is made up of what? This is made up of protein. So we can say instead of the cell wall, there is presence of pellicle which is rich in protein. Fine. So if I will ask to compare all about it, so we can compare that. all are having some distinct feature. Okay, from the examination point of view, how the question will arise here: what is the distinct feature of chrysophytes? Okay, so what is the distinct feature? They are having diatoms, okay, which will form diatomaceous earth, which is a unique feature of only chrysophytes. Fine. And if I will say what is the distinct feature of dinoflagellates, so what you will say, they exhibit bioluminescence as well as they are having goniolex which will create some red tides. What is the distinct feature of euglenoids? They are having the mixotrophic mode of nutrition. So these are the distinct feature. Here I want to add one more thing about these diatoms. If you will see the structure of diatoms, it is made up of some soap case like structure. Okay, so how have you seen that soap case? It is made up of one large and one small. Okay, so this upper one, whenever we are talking about the upper one, it will be the epitheca. Okay, epi means above one, and the lower one is the hypo. Hypo means lower one. Hypotheca. The cell wall which is present at the upper one, it is known as epitheca, and this one is a hypotheca. So again, this diatoms can have the two types of shape. What are they? Pinnate as well as centric. Okay, so here this is, you have to just understand it, what is epitheca and what is hypotheca, and how the structure look like. It look like the soap case, the upper lid as well as the lower base. And if you have to understand about the pinnate and centric. So what will this pinnate? The soap case like structure, it is known as pinnate type of the diatoms. And if you will talk about the petri dish, have you seen petri dish in the lab? It is having lid also as well as the base part. So base part is known as hypotheca, and the upper lid is known as the epitheca, and the structure they are forming like here, it is known as centric type, and the soap case like it is a pinnate type. Fine. So here we have completed three groups of kingdom Protista. Now we will discuss about the fourth one, that is slime molds. Okay, the slime molds. So it is the fourth group of kingdom Protista. So as we have discussed that they are what? They are like fungi like protist. Okay. So whenever we are talking fungi, so what is the mode of nutrition? It is a saprotrophic mode of nutrition. So that's why I've written here saprophytic protist. Why? Because they are taking their nutrition from the dead and decaying twigs or the wooden things. They are taking their nutrition. And if you will talk about the habitat, in other cases we have done there are different habitats, but here the slime molds found where in the dampy areas where the moisture is very high. So the dampy area or the dead and decaying area, they are present. So we can say under the suitable condition. If you will see about the some different structure of this slime molds. So how is the structure? I have drawn here that in the vegetative phase, okay, they are having two types of phases, vegetative and reproductive phase. So in the vegetative phase, these slime molds will act as what? As animals, and the reproductive phase it will act as plants. Fine. So if we'll talk about the vegetative phase, so I have said that it is like an animal. So they will lack the cell wall. So cell wall is absent in the plasmodium or the slime molds, because plasmodium is one of the example of slime molds. So in this one, what happens? The spores which is present inside this one, so outside member is slimy layer or the very slimy texture is present at the outside, and they are multinucleate. What are they? They are multinucleate. We can say this slime molds in the vegetative phase, they are multinucleate, and due to this multinucleate, what they are forming an aggregation, and this aggregation is known as plasmodium. So we can say that what is the characteristics of plasmodium? It is multinucleate structure, as well as another thing, they are having no cell wall, or it is an aggregate of mass. Fine. Now in the unfavorable condition, so this is all about what? In the suitable condition. In unfavorable condition, what happens? This plasmodium will get differentiated. We know that cell division takes place inside the cell. So due to this, what will happen? There will be some differentiation, and this differentiation will form some fruiting bodies. As we will come to know in the fungi, there are some fruiting bodies, sporangia. Inside the sporangia, spores are present. So same like this here. That's why we are saying it's like something like fungi, or we can say ancestor of fungi. So how? Because they are also differentiating and form some mycelium like structure, and these are having some fruiting bodies, and inside this fruiting bodies, what are there? They are having spores, and these spores are present where? At the tip of the sporangium. Okay, so for example, it is a sporangium. So at the tip of the sporangium, what is there? Spores are present, and these spores are having what? True wall. So as I have said, in the initial stage they don't have any cell wall. So in the unfavorable condition, what it will form? It will form a cell wall inside which spores are present. Why? Because in the adverse condition, it is required that this structure should be resistant. Okay, that's why we are saying they are extremely resistant. It means that they can remain in the unfavorable condition for many years. Okay, and this presence is due to what? Due to the presence of proper cell wall. Okay, again it is made up of cellulosic cell wall, and this structure or this characteristics is somehow related to the fungi, because in fungi also they are having cell wall. Okay, so here when this favorable condition will come, so when favorable condition will come, what will happen? There will be rupture of this structure, and due to this rupture of structure, what will happen? The spores will get dispersed, and this dispersion of these spores takes place with the help of air currents. It means that as the air will move from one place to another, these spores will also disperse and it will form different slime molds. Fine. So here the conclusion of the slime molds, that what are they? They are like saprophytic, dead and decaying, and the common features of slime molds with the other three members, what are they? They are also unicellular in structure. Okay, they are having instead of prokaryotic, they are eukaryotic proper cell wall. There is proper nucleus or nuclear membrane. So this is all about the slime molds. That's all for this session. In the another session, we will start with the fifth one, that is the protozoans. Okay, or we can say animal like protists. So that much for this session. Thank you.